Hi everyone, I'm Marwan. I went to UC Riverside. I just graduated this past June, so June 2020. My major was music, um, with an emphasis in performance, jazz specifically. I want to say thank you everyone for being here. Thank you everyone in MVLA Scholars, for giving us all the opportunity to work in something that is to design our own project and something that is related to our career goals, in a difficult time like this when we wouldn't have been able to otherwise. So always appreciate everything that you guys do for us here. And I wanted to start off just by talking a little bit about the song that I will be showing you all today, and then we're going to go ahead and listen to it, followed by further details about how the mixing came about. So this song, it's called 8:46, and 8 minutes and 46 seconds was the length of time that George Floyd was pinned down by a police officer, Derek Chauvin, back in I believe this was in May. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it was in May, and it's this song was written probably about a week or two after the incident, when, as I'm sure you all are aware, there were and still are a lot of protests happening all over the country concerning police brutality and the systemic racism. And myself, along with a few of my friends, had gone out to one of the protests in LA a few days after the incident, and we of course were hearing about how the police was mistreating the protesters and all of that. But going out there, we witnessed a lot of that ourselves, and we were getting tear gassed when we were being completely 100% peaceful. One of my friends got hit and was injured by one of the tear gas canisters. There were snipers pointed at us, and we were all standing there with our hands in the air. Nobody was doing anything violent at all. So of course, and this is what was happening, and a lot worse to people in the streets all over the country. Many of my friends were also getting arrested for just existing in these protests completely peacefully, and in the process of their arrests were also very, very abused. They were physically abused. They were verbally harassed. They were very badly mistreated in general. And so, of course, we were all affected very much by everything that was happening, and we still are. And the morning after the protest, I woke up and I had a bass line in my head, and so I went ahead. I went over to my recording area in my room, and I recorded that bass line, and I proceeded from there to build a song around it. And then I invited the two of my friends that were with me at the protest the night before, and we all wrote some lines and recorded them that day. And of course, the song evolved from there, but the skeleton of it was all recorded that same day.
Of a system of fraud, but today I can't feel my airway, mama. Today is not just another day for me, mama. Today is the day they got me, mama. A chauvinistic, bigoted pig, Derek Chauvin.
control the poor, stealing young people of color to fight in the war. But that ain't enough, they gotta send the rest to the industrial prison complex, and it gets my mind vexed. I sit back to blow away the stress. As I inhale, my mind expands, cause we contemplating revolution on these lands.
That's the sound of the police. Revolution in the institutions. I am a powerful force, ignited by a powerful source, invited onto a powerful course. True visionaries, satisfy unquenchable thirst. May we be the first to break the curse. May we burst and shine bright like the stars in the sky. The only difference is the altitude's high. There's not a difference in existence between you and I. The only difference is the difference that exists in your mind. So free your soul and let go. Be the revolution. We are the revolution.
A soothing mirage, we won the war. Defeated the 1%, now we feed the poor. Wish I could stay in this place some more. No longer seen as lesser in the eyes of the oppressor. Beyond these eyes we can analyze what truly resides within. Shot back to reality, another brother down. I guess he earned it, cause he ain't turn around. Revolutionaries join the family in outcry as blue line attitudes multiply. A repeated pattern throughout time. When will we learn to decolonize the mind? A week's gone by, Fox News confirmed it. He stole candy when he was 12. Oh yeah, he earned it.
You see, the illusion of our separation, the illusion that we're separate beings, the separation of our power, is how we remain chained by those in perceived power. We must break the illusion, rise as one. Rise as the one that is higher than you and I. We must rise as the one that is we.
What my non-black people of color gotta understand is that oppression has never been singular. It has forever been entwined like a web. So when you are not actively supporting the Black Lives Matter movement, you are actively supporting your own oppression. This anti-black mentality goes generations back, implemented by the colonizers when they realized they cannot defeat both the indigenous people of this land and the enslaved Africans. Wake up, motherfucker. Wake up.
Let me go ahead and talk you guys through some of the things that I did in the production process. So this is basically what my workstation here looks like. So what I did is in the introduction, you all heard some horns as well as the bass and drums. The drums were recorded by a friend of mine virtually, and he sent them over to me. And I played the bass line, and the horn parts were trumpets that I played on the keyboard and recorded as MIDI. And MIDI is like electronic sound, basically. And that was this part here in the beginning. If you that whole little section in the beginning. So what I had to work really hard on, one of the more difficult parts of the process in the mix of this was trying to get the sound of the kick drum and the bass to not collide together in a way. So if you look over here, this is the EQ. Basically, it's the equalizer of the bass. And if I scroll down here, I'm going to display the same one for the drums. So each instrument and each part of each instrument tends to project specific frequencies. And what I was trying to do basically was to have the frequencies that are more present in the kick drum be louder, and have the frequencies of the kick drum taken out of the bass, and vice versa, so that they can both coexist in that lower sort of frequency range without muddying each other up. So on the drums here, you see the sound of the kick drum was around 50 hertz. I bumped that up, and the bass was playing between maybe 80 and 120. So I took that out of the drums, and then I boosted that same one on the bass and took out around 50 from the bass, so that the kick drum has some room to shine. That was getting that to be balanced was definitely tricky, but I think it worked out pretty well. From there, we go over to when the lyrics start. We have with the lyrics here. So with the voice, mixing that also and the effects definitely took a lot of time to learn, to figure out what would go well with it. So what I have here is my compressor. So pretty much everything in this recording is compressed. And what that means, what a compressor does basically in simplified terms is that it takes all the frequencies that are under a certain that are going over a certain that are going over a certain decibel level, and brings them down by a certain amount that I specify on the compressor. And what that does is that it reduces the dynamic range of the music, and in turn that can make the music a lot louder. So you can reduce the dynamic range, but then raise the overall volume so that you don't have the loudest parts peaking in the recording, so that the loudest parts don't get muddied up. So here, there's a lot of settings on here. There's the threshold, which is the amount that the decibel level that the compressor kicks in at. The ratio is how much is being compressed. So a ratio of 2.9 to 1 here means that so anything any frequencies that are going over negative 25.5 decibels that are going to also be any frequencies going over negative 25.5 decibels are going to be reduced by a ratio of 3 to 1 relative to the level that they're going up to without the compressor. And so yeah, compressor is very important. It was one of my bigger learning points here, and that's pretty much used on everything. And for some little taste things, there's a synthesizer that I had over here that you can hear doing that melody here. I was trying to emulate a sort of like a 90s hip hop vibe with it, and so I used a chorus effect, which let me show you with and without the chorus. So chorus, and now no chorus. The chorus gives it that sort of like a little bit more wobbly texture. Basically what it does is that it creates this effect where it's almost like there's multiple sounds occurring less than milliseconds apart from each other. So it makes it sound a little bit wider and a little bit more kind of like wavy a little bit. And yeah, and then towards the end, we have, as you heard, there are drones happening that were played on a synthesizer also that I played. That underneath them there was, above them rather, there was the voices of myself and Pele speaking at the end here. Here are the drones. You can hear them it looks like this is a problem with my computer. I'd have to restart it to hear them, but you guys you remember towards the end there was the little sound that was sort of just staying consistent like that underneath the stocking that was created with that synthesizer's effect. And on our voices towards the end, what I did is that I did this effect where I basically made everything sound like it was coming out of a really old radio using a plugin called Isotope. And I thought that was also a really cool sort of throwback feel. And yeah, this is like a very quick, I mean, I know this went on for a while, but this is as quick as I could make it with how much goes into a mix.